Us all the way to India. We're very happy to have you guys with us tonight. And we're going to start tonight. This is the last chapter in the 10th canto of the Summum Bonum. This is the 10th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam. And this is called the summary of Lord Krishna's glories. And as usual, I'll read the first 10. There's about 50, so there'll be enough for everybody to grab 10 tonight, it looks like. And then we can discuss this if you'd like to afterwards, okay? So I'll start out as usual by offering pranams. Join me. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste Saraswati Devim Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschachari Shatarane Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shiva Sari Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. All right, last chapter, chapter 90, 10th canto. Here we go. Text 1 through 7. Sukadeva Goswami said, the master of the goddess of fortune resided happily in his capital city, Dwarka, which was endowed with all opulences and populated by the most eminent Vrishnis and their gorgeously dressed wives. When these beautiful women in the bloom of youth would play on the city's rooftop with balls and other toys, they shone like flashing lightning. The main streets of the city were always crowded with intoxicated elephants exuding mada, and also with cavalry, richly adorned infantrymen, and soldiers riding chariots brilliantly decorated with gold. Gracing the city were many gardens and parks with rows of flowering trees, where bees and birds would gather, filling all directions with their songs. As Gandharvas joyfully sang his praises to the accompaniment of mridanga, panava, and anaka drums, and as professional reciters known as Sutas, Magadas, and Vandis played Venas and recited poems praising Krishna, Lord Krishna would play with his wives in the water. Laughing, the queens would squirt water on him with syringes and he would squirt them back. Thus Krishna would sport with his queens in the same way the Lord of the Yakshas sports with the Yakshi nymphs. Under the drenched clothing of the queens, their thighs and breasts would become visible. The flowers tied in their large braids would scatter as they sprayed water on their consorts. And on the plea of trying to take away his syringe, they would embrace him. By his touch, their lusty feelings would increase, causing their faces to beam with smiles. Thus, Lord Krishna's queens shone with resplendent beauty. Who would like to read from there? Text 11. Please grab a piece of this.
Yeah, I can read, Prabhu.
Oh, please. Thank you, Ajay. Oh, by the way, we have our special guest tonight, Ajay Nitai, all the way from India. And we're so very happy to have him in person. There he is. Haribo. So please continue.
Text 11. Lord Krishna's flower garland would become smeared with kumkuma from their breasts, and his abundant locks of hair would become disheveled as a result of his absorption in the game. As the Lord repeatedly sprayed his young consorts, and they sprayed him in turn, he enjoyed himself like the king of elephants, enjoying in the company of his bevy of she-elephants. Text 12. Afterwards, Lord Krishna and his wives would give the ornaments and clothing they had worn during their water sports to the male and female performers, who earned their livelihood from singing and from playing instrumental music. Text 13. In this way, Lord Krishna would sport with his queens, totally captivating their hearts with his gestures, talks, glances, and smiles, and also with his jokes, playful exchanges, and embraces. Text 14. The queens would become stunned in ecstatic trance, their minds absorbed in Krishna alone. Then, thinking of their lotus eyed Lord, they would speak as if insane. Please hear these words from me as I relate them. Text 15. The queen said, "O Kurari bird, you're lamenting. Now it is night, and somewhere in the world the Supreme Lord is asleep in a hidden place, but you are wide awake. O friend, unable to fall asleep, is it that, like us, you have had your heart pierced to the core by the lotus eyed Lord's munificent, playful, smiling glances? Text 16. Poor Chakravaki, even after closing your eyes, you continue to cry pitifully through the night for your unseen maid. Or is it that, like us, you have become the servant of Achyuta and hanker to wear in your braided hair the garland he has blessed with the touch of his feet? Text 17. Dear ocean, you're always roaring, not sleeping at night. You're suffering insomnia. Or is it that, as with us, Mukunda has taken your insignias and you're hopeless of retrieving them? Text 18. My dear moon, having contracted a severe case of tuberculosis, you have become so emaciated that you fail to dispel the darkness with your rays? Or is it that you appear dumbstruck because, like us, you cannot remember the encouraging promises Mukunda once made to you? Text 19. Oh, Malayan breeze, that what have we done to displease you, so that you stir up lust in your hearts, which have already been shattered by Govinda's sidelong glances? Text 20. O revered cloud, you are indeed very dear to the chief of the Yadavas, who bears the mark of Shrivasta. Like us, you're bound to him by love and are meditating upon him. Your heart is distraught with great eagerness, as our hearts are. And as you remember him again and again, you shed a torrent of tears. Association with Krishna brings such misery. Hare Krishna. Thanks for letting me read Haribol.
Very nice. Thank you, Jai. Glad to have you reading. Okay, who's next? Text 21.
Make it work.
Ravananda wants to raid.
Please.
After I change glasses.
Well, he's changing glasses, hang on. Because he's got computer glasses and reading glasses.
No problem.
What? Where am I at?
20.
No, 21, isn't it?
21, sorry.
21.
21. Okay. Oh, sweet throated cuckoo, in a voice that could revive the dead, you are vibrating the same sounds we once heard from our beloved, the most pleasing of speakers. Please tell me what I can do today to please you. O magnanimous mountain, you neither move nor speak. You must be pondering some matter of great importance. Or do you, like us, desire to hold on your breasts the feet of Vasudev's darling son? O rivers, wives of the oceans, your pools have now dried up. Alas, you have shriveled to nothing, and your wealth of lotuses has vanished. You are then, like us, who are withered away because of not receiving the affectionate glances of our dear husband, the Lord of
Madhu.
Who has cheated our hearts. Welcome, Swan. Please sit here and drink some milk. give us some news of the descendants of
Sura.
Suru, dear one. We know you are his messenger. Is that an invincible Lord doing well? And does that unreliable friend of ours still remember the words he spoke to us long ago? Why should we go and worship him, O servant of petty matters, of a petty master? Go tell him who fulfills our desires to come here without the goddess of fortune. Is she the only woman exclusively devoted to him? Shukadeva Goswami said, by thus speaking and acting with such ecstatic love for Lord Krishna, the master of all masters of mystic yoga, his loving wives attain the ultimate goal of life. The Lord, whom countless songs glorify in countless ways, forcibly attracts the minds of all women who simply hear about him. What to speak then of those women who see him directly? And how could one possibly describe the great austerities that have been performed by the women who perfectly served him, the spiritual master of the universe, in pure ecstatic love? Thinking of him as their husband, they rendered such intimate service as massaging his feet. Thus observing the principles of duty enumerated in the Vedas, O Lord Krishna, the goal of the saintly devotees repeatedly demonstrate how one can achieve at home the objectives of religiosity, economic development, and regulated sense gratification. While fulfilling the highest standards of religious household life, Lord Krishna maintained more than 16,100 wives. There we go. Where do I read that one to? Among these Jew-like women were 8 principal queens, headed by Rukmini. I have already described them one after another, O king, along with their son.
So I'll read for a while. The Supreme Lord Krishna, whose endeavor never fails, begotten sons in each of his many wives. Among these sons, all possessing unlimited valor, 18 were Maharathas of great renown. Now hear their names from me. They were Pradumna and Aruda, Diptiman, Banu, Samba, Madhu, Bihad Banu, Chitra Banu, Vrika, Aruna, Pushkara, Vedabahu, Shrutadev, Sunandana, Chitrabahu, Virupa, Kavi, and Nayagroda. O best of kings, these sons begotten by Lord Krishna, the enemy of Badu, the most prominent was Rukmini's son, Pradumna. He was just like his father. The great warrior Pradumna married Rukmini's daughter, Rukmavati, who gave birth to Anuruddha. He was as strong as 10,000 elephants. Rukmi's daughter's son, Anuruddha, married Rukmi's son, daughter Rochana. From her was born Vajra, who would remain among the few survivors of the Yadu battle with clubs. From Vajra came Pratibahu, whose son was Subahu. Subahu's son was Sanatasena, from whom Satasena was born. No one born in this family was poor in wealth or progeny, short-lived, weak, or neglectful of Brahminical culture. The Yadu dynasty produced innumerable great men of famous deeds, even in tens of thousands of years, O king. One could never count them all. So that's about my 10. If Marie or Vamsi would like to take over.
Please.
Who can count all the great Yaduvas? When among them King Yugresena alone was accompanied by an entourage of 30 trillion attendants. The savage descendants of Jiti, who had been killed in past ages in battle between the demigods and demons, took birth among human beings and arrogantly harassed the general populace. To subdue these demons, Lord Harry told the demigods to descend into the dynasty of Yadu. They comprise 101 clans, O king. Because Lord Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead, the Yadavas accepted him as their ultimate authority, and among them all those who were his intimate associates especially flourished. The, the Vaishnavas were so absorbed in Krishna consciousness that they forgot their own bodies while sleeping, sitting, walking, conversing, playing, bathing, and so on. The heavenly Ganges is a holy place of pilgrimage because her waters wash Lord Krishna's feet. But when the Lord descended among the Yadus, his glories eclipsed the Ganges as a holy place. Both those who hated Krishna and those who loved him attained eternal forms like his in the spiritual world. The unattainable and supremely self-satisfied goddess of fortune, for the sake of whose favor everyone else struggles, belongs to him alone. His name destroys all inauspiciousness when heard or chanted. He alone has set forth the principles of the various disciplic successions of sages. What wonder is that? What wonder is it that he whose personal weapon is the wheel of time relieves the burden of the earth? Lord Sri Krishna is he who is known as Nana Navasa, the ultimate resort of all living entities, and who is also known as Devaki Nandana and Yosada Nandana, the son of Devaki and Yosada. He is the guide of the Yadu dynasty, and with his mighty arms he kills everything inauspicious as well as every man who is impious. By his presence, he destroys all things inauspicious for all living entities, moving and inert. His blissful smiling face always increases the lusty desires of the gopis of Vrindavan. May he be all glorious and happy. To protect the principles of devotional service to himself, Lord Krishna, the best of the Yadus, accepts the pastime forms that have been glorified here in the Srimad Bhagavatam. One who desires to faithfully serve his lotus feet should hear of the activities he performed in each of these incarnations, activities that suitably imitate those of the forms he assumes. Hearing narrations of these pastimes destroys the reactions of fruitive work. By regularly hearing, chanting, and meditating on the beautiful topics of Lord Mukunda with ever increasing sincerity, a mortal being will attain the divine kingdom of the Lord, where the inviolable power of death holds no sway. For this purpose, many persons, including great kings, abandoned their mundane homes and took to the forest.
Well, that's the end of the 10th canto. Congratulations, everybody. We've been working on this now for about 2 or 3 years. So we've got dozens and dozens and dozens of classes discussing the various avatars of Krishna, including his pastime Leela avatars, Guna avatars, Shaktivesha avatars, Manvan avatars. I mean, there's so many different types of avatars where the Lord has come. Srimad Bhagavatam is filled with those stories. And by meditating on those stories, we achieve the perfection of our lives. In this chapter, it says that even those who hated Krishna achieved self-same kind of bodies and liberation as the Lord. So if one is filled up, manmana bhava madbhakto madhyaji nam namaskaru, if a person is always thinking, always meditating, always worshiping, or however, you feel Krishna in your mind, that is the perfection of existence. That is the purpose of existence. That is, we're seeing perfected devotees, siddhas. We're witnessing their activities. Just the story of the gopis from text, say, whatever that was, 20 through about 29, described completely how the gopis felt about Krishna and how their minds were completely absorbed in the Lord. So our goal is to also do that, to become completely absorbed in the Lord. And the Lord has recommended Sarvadharma Pratyaja Mamekam Sadanam Braja Hum Tvam Sarvapapabhyo Mokshayishami Masuchaha. In other words, just abandon all types of speculation. Abandon all these various so-called branches of knowledge in the material world. And just simply surrender to Krishna. You don't have to continually convert from one religion to the next, from one denomination to the next, from one sect to the next. These are causes of division. And in many cases, many of them are man-made. Okay, and Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, anything that takes its birth, its death is certain. So if it's come into being, its ending is also guaranteed. So this is eternal truth. It's called Sanatana Dharma. This is not come into being. It will not come into being. It has not come into being. And it will never end. This is the eternal truth. This is the Sanatana Dharma. This is the function of every soul. You don't have to convert to it. You don't have to really do anything except for to acknowledge it. Acknowledge the fact that you are a servant of God. That's really it. And once you do that and you're in full consciousness of that, Krishna guarantees that you will, by this process of devotional service, you will enter into the kingdom of God. As a matter of fact, you're already in the kingdom of God. The kingdom of God is at hand, is what the Bible says. Why? Because simply by changing your consciousness from mundane consciousness, from material consciousness to Krishna consciousness, you're perfecting your life. By regularly hearing and chanting and meditating on these beautiful topics of Lord Mukunda, right? What is it? Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smadanam. So simply by hearing, one will remember the Lord. Prabhupada said that when we chant Hare Krishna, that naturally what it enters the mind are the pastimes, the forms, the activities, the entourage of his incarnations. All of these things naturally enter the mind. If I say Ajay, for an example, if I say his name, then the pastimes that we've experienced together, or his form, or his place of residence, or whatever it is that he likes or doesn't like, all of those things immediately come to mind. If you know someone, then you can also feel them. You can understand them. You can take them in your own heart. You know their form, you know their face, you know their activities, you know what they like. In many cases, you know what their own personal proclivities and desires are. So all of those things filter in the mind, and that creates a consciousness of another person, right? So that's what we're here to do, guys. That's what we're here to do. So we have to abandon any other activity that would separate us from remembering Krishna. The first steps of yoga, again, are yama niyama. Accept only those things favorable in the devotional service of the Lord, and reject anything that's unfavorable in the service of the Lord. Simply by doing these first simple processes of yoga, which are found in the very beginning steps of yoga, Ashtanga yoga, a person can become association of other devotees, especially devotees who are advanced. We become advanced in our devotional lives. So there are many wonderful verses in this chapter. And I wanted to ask, are there any questions about this chapter first, or anything that anybody wants to illuminate us on about this chapter before we move on? And you can stop me along the way. It's no big deal. I mean, we can always continue on.
On text 24, Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has relates a conversation relating to this verse, which looks, really beautiful. It's in the purport. Do you think we should read it?
Yeah, please.
Okay. Do you want me to read it?
Sure.
I'll read the first, the translation first, and then the purport, because it's related. Welcome, Swan. Please sit here and drink some milk. Give us some news of the descendant of Sura, dear one. We know you are his messenger. Is that invincible Lord doing well? And does that unreliable friend of ours still remember the words he spoke to us long ago? Why should we go and worship him? O servant of a petty master, go tell him who fulfills our desires to come here without the goddess of fortune. Is she the only woman exclusively devoted to him? And then the purport, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti relates the following conversation between the queens and the swan. The queen asked, is the unconquerable Lord doing well? The swan replies, how can Lord Krishna be doing well without you, his beloved consorts? But does he remember what he once told one of us, Srimati Rukmini? Does he recall that he said, in all my palaces, I see no other wife as dear as you? He does indeed remember this, and that is just why he sent me here. You should all go to him and engage in his devotional service. Why should we go worship him if he refuses to come here to be with us? But my dear oceans of compassion, he is suffering so much from your absence. How can he be saved from this distress? Just listen, O servant of a petty master, tell him to come here, as he should. If he is suffering from lusty desires, he has only himself to blame, since he himself is the creator of Cupid's power. Well, we self-respecting ladies are not going to yield to his demand that we go seek him out. So be it, then. I will take my leave. No, 1 minute, dear Swan. Ask him to come to us here, but without the goddess of fortune, who always cheats us by keeping him all to herself. Don't you know that goddess Lakshmi is devoted exclusively to the Lord? How could he give her up like that? And is she the only woman in the world who is completely sold out to him? What about us? That seems to be the Queen's. Yeah.
Very beautiful. Yeah, I'm not sure exactly where that translation's from, but if you notice that in the after Prabhupada quit doing the purports and doing the translations, there's not that many purports.
No.
There's very few really. So this is quite wonderful. I don't know, maybe Vamsi or Ajay, do you know where that's from? This Vishwanath Chakravarti relates to conversation, but I'm not sure where it's found in what text. So somebody might want to look that up and see if we ever want to reference that in the future. You can find it under Vishwanath Chakravarti's writings, apparently. So that is very beautiful. Thanks for calling that out and looking at that. I think that's a very wonderful part of this, because the next several in a row after this, he goes on to say in the next verse, for an example, Sukadeva Goswami said, by thus speaking and acting with such ecstatic love for Lord Krishna, the master of all mystic yogas, his loving wives attained to the ultimate goal of life. So this is how we get to the ultimate goal of life, by creating countless songs. Think about it. It says here, the Lord whom countless songs glorify in countless ways. So this attracts and forcibly attracts the mind of all people. It says here in particular, all women who simply hear about him. We're all Prakriti. We're all female, and so we're all attracted to that ultimate source of our power. There's only one source of energy. That's Krishna. Yet his energy is unlimited and expands through us. And he experiences through us as Harishikesh, the master of the senses. So be sure that you offer your senses, and everything that you offer to your senses, you're actually offering to Krishna, because these are his senses. This is his body. This is an expansion of his soul. He is the soul of your soul. And so by recognizing that, you realize that everything you do, Krishna is experiencing with you. So don't subject to Krishna to things that he doesn't enjoy or doesn't like the demons do. That's unfavorable devotional service. Sure, Krishna also accepts that. He accepts the breast of Putana, and he liberates her, even though she was trying to kill the baby and eat him. Now think about how horrible her motive was when she went to Krishna, but he still liberated her by sucking her soul out of her body. But because she offered her breast as a mother, he took her home. So countless songs glorify in countless ways and attract the minds of the devotees. So, and it says, what to speak of those who see and serve Krishna directly. So these are personalities who were with Krishna. These are persons who saw Krishna. These are persons who had personal experiences with Krishna. When we hear the story of the gopis, it talks about how they used syringes to spray water upon one another. And they would try to take Krishna's syringe away from him on a plea of grabbing it, but grabbing his body. And in that situation, they became ecstatic. They became overwhelmed with devotional love for the Lord. So the idea is, how do we become overwhelmed with devotional love for the Lord? That's the key. The key is to become overwhelmed. Just like there's an old statement, I don't know if you know which one it is, Ajay, or maybe Vamsi might know, but it might be from Chanakya Pandit, I don't know. It says, whatever you have to do, get ghee. You can beg ghee, you can borrow ghee, you can steal ghee, but you should get ghee. I don't know where that quote is from, but in the same way, we should beg, borrow, or steal Krishna. We should find Krishna. We should try to completely steep our minds, our intelligence, our senses, our activities. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, all that you eat, all that you offer, all that you give away, all of these things, everything you do should be done as an offering to me. That's what Krishna says. Why? Because it comes from Krishna. Everything comes from Krishna. Nothing is separate from Krishna. There is no possibility. So if everything is Krishna, everything belongs to Krishna, including you and your very soul and your very life that you're living, the Lakshmi that you have, the home that you're living in, the children that you've created. Krishna has given you all these opportunities. And whatever Lakshmi or whatever activities you have, all of those things are not yours. They belong to Krishna. So what happens is, when we have this artificial understanding, oh, me and mine, this is the beginning of the funnel or whirlpool to the lower modes. This is the beginning. This is how we got here. You know, there's a story we just read about, they were trying to find out who was the supreme demigod or supreme god, actually. So they went to Shiva, and Shiva got very angry, right? Because who was it? It didn't bow down before Shiva. Who was that? It was Brigu. Brigu went, he didn't bow down to Shiva. So Shiva got very angry with him and wanted to burn him up. But Parvati bowed down before Shiva and begged for him not to be destroyed. So he figured it wasn't Shiva as the supreme. And then he goes, where does he go next? Does anybody know the rest of the story? Think about it. So then he goes to Brahma. And now Brigu is a son of Brahma. Okay, he's actually Brahma's son. And so he didn't offer respects to Brahma, and he didn't offer his prayers. He didn't do whatever it was, he didn't do. And Brahma became very angry with him because Brahma's in the mode of passion. But Brahma, by yogic prowess, controlled his mind and brought it back under the control of the self. And therefore, he did not engage or act on that feeling, however, he did have it. But what happened? When Brigu went to Krishna's palace, he was lying on the bed with, who was it? Goddess of Fortune. And so Brigu walks in and instead of saying anything, walks up and kicks Krishna on the chest. He kicks him in the chest. And as a result, what would you expect? What would you do? You're laying there on the bed with your wife, and this sage walks in and kicks you in the chest, not offering any respects or anything like that. So Krishna gets up and immediately offers his respects and apologizes to Brigu for not noticing him coming in, and then began to offer him the seat that he was sitting in and began to offer service and worship and wash his feet and take the water on his head. So Brigu knew this is the Supreme Person. He knew this is the Supreme Person. So would you do the same? So we're learning how to act by Krishna. Krishna says, if I don't set the example, the whole world will go awry. So Krishna actually enacts religious principles, not because he's subject to anything. He doesn't have to do any of these things. He's the source of all of these things. But he does them to set a good example for us. Just like when Ram went out that night into the village. Remember this story? Ajay, you remember this story? Ram goes out into the village and he wants to know what people think. Sita's back, right? She walked through fire. Sita's back. She's in the palace, right? But he hears someone in their home talking. Oh, just see Ram. Just see. He's taken a woman who spent the night with another man. This is inappropriate behavior. So what does Ram do? He rejects Sita because he's setting an example for everyone else. Bhagavad Gita says, whatever great men do, common men pursue. So that's the idea. All the world pursues what Krishna is doing. So he is setting the example for everything. Everything is created out of his mind, out of his will, and for his pleasure, at his own sweet will. All of these things are created. So we have to understand who to please. You want to please your nation? Good luck. You can't even please your own family, guys. I think some of us know what I'm talking about, okay? So what are you going to do? Who are you going to please? So they say if you water every leaf on the plant, the whole plant dies. But if you water the root of the plant, then all the leaves flourish. You see how that goes? So we go back to the source. We worship Krishna and we do what Krishna wants. We don't care for convention. We don't care what people think about us. We don't care for those things. Those are external things. So Krishna even says in Bhagavad Gita, karma sarva kamo va moksha kama udaradi. And what he's saying is whether you're full of all desires, you can be full of all desires, lusty desires, hatred. You can be full of any of this stuff, or whether you have no material desires, or whether you're desirous of liberation. If you have broader intelligence, then you will worship the supreme whole, the supreme personality of Godhead, because all of these desires have been filled from time immemorial by the supreme personality of Godhead alone. And he's expanded to create these opportunities for you in unlimited variegatedness for the sake of rasa, for the sake of pleasure. So very, very cool stuff. But and there's one nice verse that I always think about, and it's in the Narada Pancharatra. Okay, and it's a great, great verse, and I love the verse. Sarvo Padi Vinirmuktam, and it means that one should be free from all material designations and cleansed of all material contamination. Now, how do you do that? How do you do it? Well, the chanting of the holy name of the Lord, the constant remembrance of these stories. This is the purpose. These are the meanings. This Srimad Bhagavatam is our very life. And by regularly hearing and chanting and meditating on these beautiful topics that we're hearing in this Srimad Bhagavatam, we will attain to the divine kingdom of the Lord. You will attain to it. It's guaranteed by Krishna himself. So you need to do it with what is known as ever-increasing sincerity. That's the hard part. How do you do that? Ever-increasing sincerity. Well, you watch other devotees and how they act. So the idea by doing that, you will restore your original identity. You will be restored to your pure identity. And by chanting the holy names, it's like taking medicine. At first you're sick, but inconceivably, somehow or another, the medicine starts working and you start feeling better. I went to the naturopathic doctor the other day and she gave me some turmeric and some other, pharmaceutical grade stuff, okay? For viruses, bacteria, yeast, all these things, you take it. Once those things start leaving the body, you start feeling better. You wake up feeling better. You wake up feeling more rested. The stuff works. It works. So if you're going to be a transcendental scientist or transcendental doctor, it says in the Bible, physician, heal thyself. You have to find out what works for you. You have to add these principles, these medicines in the Bhaktivedanta hospital. And by adding those to your life, gradually, the inviolable power of death will hold no sway upon you. That's a pretty good guarantee, don't you think? So powerful that great kings who had thousands of wives, unlimited treasury, palaces beyond your wildest imagination, all of these things they would leave these things and walk to the forest and not look back, even though their whole kingdom was lamenting and crying and begging and please don't leave us, Lord. The king still left and gave up his life in a solitary place with his mind fixed on the feet of his master, Supreme Personality of Godhead. They would go to the forest. So try to understand how much of a sacrifice that would be. And what are we asking you to do? What is Prabhupada asking you to do? Is he asking you to give up all your home and your family and everything? No. Prabhupada's simply saying add Krishna. Simply saying add Krishna. If we can't even add Krishna, we can't even acknowledge the source of our pleasure, the source of our happiness, the source of our food, all of these things. If we can't do that, then what should we be doing? What else can we be doing that would give us the same results? What else can you do that would give you these results? So it says you should be restored your senses to the service of the proprietor of the senses, and that's Hrishikesh, the master of the senses. When we put on our tilak in the morning, one of them, Hrishikesh. So the idea is we dedicate ourselves to the Lord like that. And by doing that, we can become in full knowledge of who is God, who are you, what are you doing here, why are you here, what can you expect. Krishna says in 10:10, Tesham satata yuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam jainamam upayanti te. Buddhi means intelligence. So if you use your intelligence to engage your mind, because see, the mind is like a small child. Okay, I don't know if you've noticed this or not, but all day long your mind is working. Sometimes all night long your mind is working. And you know what it's doing? Trying to fulfill what you've put into it. Maybe not by your intelligence, maybe by your neglect of your intelligence. So then it will listen to an ad on TV. It will go buy this, do this, buy, smoke that, drink this. You'll be happy if you could do this, sex life, whatever it is. The mind is hearing all of these inputs. And then once it does, it starts thinking, oh, how can I do these things? How can I work these things out? If I just do this, then finally the mind will please the soul, because the mind is like a servant, or it can be a master. If it's a master, it has to be masterful by engaging in your intelligence, which comes from the parampara, which comes from the spiritual master. So if you're constantly devoted and you worship the Lord with love, he will give you the understanding by which you can come to him. He says that in the Bhagavad Gita. I mean, there's no doubt about these things, that these things will definitely happen. And they are happening to those who are actually performing this bhakti yoga sadhana process. It does happen, and it will happen. And so we have to commit ourselves to it. Krishna says in 647, yoginam api sarvesham. Now, I don't know if you know, but he says of all yogis, yoginam api sarvesham. In other words, of all the yogis, everywhere. Doesn't matter if it's Ashtanga yogi, Hatha yogi, Karma yogi, Jnana yogi, Bhakti yogi. He's saying, one who abides in me with great faith, worshiping me in transcendental loving service. He is intimately united with me and is the highest of all. So if you had any question about that, that should solve that problem for you as to what to do. So I feel bad when I talk to people because I hear them pursuing a path that will lead them to disappointment and to death and destruction. But we see in the life of Krishna, and this is in verse 39. You can go to 39. Let's go to 39, and I'll read this one to you real quick. This is a really good verse because this is very descriptive. It says that no one who was born in Krishna's family was poor in wealth or in progeny, neither were they short-lived, nor were they weak, and none of them neglected Brahminical culture. None of them. None of them. So if we want to live that life of perfection and happiness, and we want to be born with all of those wonderful, auspicious characteristics, there's only one way to do it. There's only one way to do it. Now, most people are seeking religiosity for the sake of more money, a bigger house, a more beautiful wife, better children, a better birth. And these things are considered to be Maya. And they've been recommended to give up that. So to give that attitude up, okay? So, and you can see that this Yadu dynasty actually produced innumerable great men of repute. These were great Maharathas. And what their thing was is that they performed famous deeds that are found in Shastric reference. Right? And so it says that even if you could count for tens of thousands of years, you could not count all of these great souls that were produced through this process. So we want to join those ranks. There's a song we sing sometimes, and we were singing not too long ago, when the saints go marching in. Well, they're coming in. They're going back to the spiritual world. Why? because they lived a life like the one I just described to you, and now they have received their reward. They have received their reward. And so that's very, very important that we want a reward that is pleasing to Krishna, not just to us, right? So Krishna comes to take care of this problem of the demons in the material world. He kills them, and when he does, he delivers them too. The gopis have lust, he delivers them. Whatever you can do to take and dovetail your activities in Krishna consciousness, in Krishna's service, will make you happy, and it will make Krishna happy too. Now, we want to do it in a favorable way because we're in a Vaishnava Gaudiya Sampradaya. So we don't follow these other sampradayas that are envious of the Lord or whatever it might be. So, is there any other points or questions that you guys have? There's some other things that I wanted to tell you, like in 47. Go to 47 real quick. This is kind of an important verse for you. I think it's very descriptive of what I just talked about. In 47, it says, the heavenly Ganges is a holy place of pilgrimage because her waters washed the Lord's feet, right? But when the Lord descended amongst the Yadus, his glories eclipsed the Ganges as a holy place. Both those who hated Krishna and those who loved him attained eternal forms like his in the spiritual world. Now, you want to tell me the Lord is not merciful? I mean, just a little advancement on this path can save one from the most dangerous type of fear. Just a little bit, and there's no loss or diminution in this. So it says, the unattainable and supremely self-satisfied goddess of fortune, for the sake of whose favor everyone else struggles, belongs to Krishna alone. She belongs to Krishna alone. And his name destroys all inauspiciousness when heard or chanted. He alone has set forth the principles of various disciplic successions of sages. And what wonder is it that he, whose personal weapon is the wheel of time, relieved all the burdens of the earth by killing all these demoniac dynasties. And there's more than 100 demoniac dynasties that Krishna ridded from the earth. Okay? So, guys, I mean, we're about to run out of time. So what I'm going to do is just tell you about Devaki Nandana and Yasoda Nandana. We sing a song, Devaki Nandana Gopala. Have you heard that? Devaki Nandana Gopala. Gopala. So the mother of Krishna, the mother of God, is absorbed in God. And it said, there's one verse in here that I want you to I can't remember the exact verse, but I'll paraphrase it. It says that these people who were associated with Krishna in the world, they forgot who they were. They forgot what they were doing. They forgot they had a body. They didn't realize they were sitting or standing or eating or doing any of those things. They left all of that behind and filled themselves with Krishna. I'll give you a good example. You know, if you're driving down the road, you might drive 100 miles and never even see the road. You're on autopilot. And in your mind, you're focused on one thing. Hopefully it's Krishna. Or focused on some other thing. So we can become Krishna conscious. We can create an endless loop of Krishna's name. An endless loop of Krishna's name. That's the idea. You want it to be in your dreams. You want it to be when you're not doing anything else. This automated devotional life should go on because at the time of death, you might not be able to consciously do this. But subconsciously, since you've infused yourself with the name, the form, the pastimes, the activities, the entourage, all of these things of the Lord, they're constantly rotating in your mind. And therefore, even if you're not cognizant, the subconscious mind is continuing on. And so therefore, you might find yourself in the middle of something, just chanting God's name, Or if something happens, you might go Krishna. Oh Krishna. You think about Krishna in those situations. So please, please fill your heart, fill your mind, fill your soul with Krishna, because Krishna says, Matak paraktaram nanyet kaschinasti dhananjaya. And what he's saying is there's no truth superior to me. Everything is strung on me like pearls are strung on a thread. So if that's the case, everything that we've done here tonight is designed to bring you to the same ultimate state that Krishna's wives experienced, to bring you to the ultimate state that the gopis experienced, to bring you to the state that all these great kings with these sacrifices that they did, that we've read about in Srimad Bhagavatam, is to bring you to that state. It's to take you to the state of perfection. And until it's unmotivated and uninterrupted, it will never satisfy the self. So keep adding every day little drops of sadhana bhakti into your life, and gradually you too will become just like them. You'll be able to follow in their footsteps, because this is what the parampara, the sampradaya, is here to recommend. So guys, that's it for me. Anything else you want to add, please do. Vamsi, there's Vamsi. Adibo, Vamsi.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
I saw your little picture, but I didn't think you were actually, I thought maybe you were driving around or doing something. You never know.
Yeah, I
Are you
was.
back? Are you back?
Yeah, I'm back. I'm back. But while I was in India, had the greatest fortune to visit Dwarka, and there's most of the Dwarka is underwater, but there's this temple there right by the shore of the ocean and the river Gomati, and this temple is so opulent. It looks like it is made of beach sand because in the rock you find shells, but it's standing for centuries. And I don't know how they found the rock, but it just feels like beach sand solidified. But there are multiple stories, and then there is of course Krishna's deity as Dwarkadish, and he is such a beautiful black granite deity. And Mother Rukmini is in another temple, not beside him because there's a pastime there. So it was really, really enjoyable to see the Lord in that and as a king, because when we go to Vrindavan, he's a boy, and this is his a very opulent nature as a king, and really attractive temple and deity. Was able to take darshan of the Lord because it was there were storms there and not many people came, so I was able to see him well. And then the service there is to provide your weight in things for the temple. So they put rice, ghee, and all the things and on one side, and then you sit on the other side and balance yourself, and you give that to the temple for service. So I was able to do that, and they call it tula. Um, Tula Seva. So it's like meaning it's you're balancing your weight and giving that to the Lord, Tula Dan. And there's a pastime of the Lord they mentioned there where Rukmini was trying to balance. No, sorry, Satyabhama was trying to balance the Lord. One side she kept Krishna, and the other side she took all the gold she had because her father was Satrajit, and they got a lot of gold from the Samantaka jewel. So she kept gold and she kept piling on gold, and nothing was balancing the Lord. She thought she could balance the Lord with the gold, and nothing happened. And she got all the gold she had, but nothing. Krishna was always heavier. And then Mother Rukmini came and kept a tulsi on that side, and then it balanced. So it was.
That's a really good story. Thank you, Vamsi. That's
Yeah.
fantastic. So you just got back from Dwarka.
Yes, yes, Prabhuji. And it is good to that today's chapter was about the queens of Dwaraka. So it
Yeah.
was nice to look.
Yeah, absolutely. And they've been described in a different chapter, if you remember, a few chapters back. All the queens started with root meaning were described. Yeah, I wrote a song some time ago, and I play it every once in a while. I don't know if I can remember the words, but it says, "Far away and long ago, there was a kingdom famed of old, where a saintly king ruled with the fairest hand. Lord Sri Krishna was his name, and from Dwarka spread
Ah,
his fame. He came to
Haribol.
conquer evil, the truth,
Mm-hmm.
error proclaim. And so
Haribol.
great demons, it says, so great demons came out to fight, to
Mm-hmm.
perpetrate their evil plight. But the last words, as they fell, was Krishna's name."
Hari. Very
It
nice.
said,
I'll find
and
it and post it.
yeah, you can do that.
I'll post
It
it
says,
on our thing.
what was the other? Every maiden sought to dance,
Yes.
right? Because of what was, I can't remember, it's something to do with Krishna. They were in trance as a result of seeing Krishna.
Haribol.
So, yeah, the ancient practice still remains. Recite his glories, sing his name. It's as vital now as in the ancient day. It says, his adventures thrill our hearts and minds. They teach us Krishna's love divine, and he dances in each heart where he is the king. So I recommend that you set a throne in your heart, decorate it nicely daily, put Krishna on the throne, and offer your artik in your mind. And I think that is a wonderful way to keep Krishna close. So, yeah, we're just trying to remind people they don't know who is God. They have no idea. And they think we're all crazy. They think, man, you guys are believing some crazy stuff. I mean, these are fantastic stories. How can somebody lift a mountain?
Mm-hmm.
Come on. I mean, that would be the simplest thing Krishna could ever do, to lift a mountain with his finger. I mean, look at what he's created here. I saw an image from the rover on Mars the other night. They don't have an atmosphere there, okay, on Mars. We have an atmosphere, so we can't see these things very clearly. But it looks like just milk in the sky. It's so heavily populated with trillions and trillions and trillions of planets. So when we hear that, who was it? Ugrasena, King Ugrasena. He had trillions of what was it? It said he had trillions of something. What was that in this verse he was talking about? I know that they had 30,800,000 teachers for Krishna's children. So when we hear that, we're like, what? How could this be possible? And a lot of people just shove it under the rug. They don't even want to think about it again because they think that Krishna is limited to their uh, uh, frailty, right? They don't recognize Krishna as the supreme. They think he's an immortal person. So this is Maya. This is atheism. This is nonsense. And so our goal is to fix all of that and to educate people on Krishna's prowess, whether it be in Vrindavan or Mathura or Dwarka.
Yes, Prabhuji. And I'm hearing that they're going to start a new ride where there's a submersible that'll go underwater to see the old ruins of Dwarka that went under. The divers went there and saw the descriptions are similar to what that is in Bhagavatam about Krishna's palaces. So all that is under the ocean, and they are able to see that. And soon I hear there'll be rides that'll allow commoners to go and see that too. So it's clear that whatever is in the scriptures is actually true because it's all right there, and it's not fiction.
No. And as a matter of fact, all of these things now, because modern science is just now available to prove these things that have been in the Vedas for thousands of years, just
Mhm.
like cows are really holy because even their stool and urine is antiseptic. Now, can you name another creature like that? No. So, yes, they're holy cows. I had a conversation with a guy about that today, believe it or not, at Ajay's place. Ajay, the guy downstairs at your apartment, he's really nice. He wanted your vegetables. I gave him all your vegetables. He said, and the girl there, she said, we started talking about vegetarianism. And, we're talking about India and they talking about the holy cow. And I said, well, yeah. I said, if your mother feeds you and raises you with her own breast milk I mean, you're going to slit her throat and eat her flesh after she's done all that for you? I mean, how evil would that be? We can't negate. Yeah, you're right. You're 100% right. They're talking about becoming vegetarians, and so he wanted your frozen vegetables. Jai, so I gave it to him. He was very grateful, by the way. All right, guys. So y'all are a lot of fun. I appreciate you so much, and thank you, Vamsi. Appreciate you being back. Jai's in India, so he's promised that he's going to go around and send us all types of video and pictures of all these wonderful holy places and situations. And so his
Yes.
service is now expanded to the international community.
Oh,
So we're very happy that he's doing that. Vamsi, we're glad to have you back hearing your stories. Anything else, anybody? Okay.
so Prabhu, in text Canto 10, chapter 60, Lord Krishna playfully teases Srimati Rukmani into a lover's quarrel to taste her sweet anger. So it's coming from that chapter. That's what he mentions.
Oh, very nice. Very nice. Yeah, very nice. Well, that's beautiful, guys. Well, thank you for helping us do some research here tonight. Many heads are better than one, okay? So, but it didn't work out well for Ravana necessarily. He had a lot of heads, but Tom just whacked them all. So, it's not always true, okay? It depends on what you're thinking. However, Ravana, look at him. He was killed by the hand of the Lord. I mean, it don't get any better than that. Okay, guys. So repeat after me. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Krishna,
Krishna Krishna.
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna.
Krishna,
Hare Hare.
Hare Hare.
Hare Rama.
Hare
Hare
Ram.
Ram,
Hare Rama.
Hare Ram.
Hare Ram,
Rama Rama.
Rama Rama.
Hare Hare.
Hare Hare.
Please be blessed, accept my obeisances, and please pray for Gayatri Das, if you don't mind. Add me to your prayers. I appreciate it very much. So have a great evening, and we'll let you know what the next chapter will be. It's going to be in the 11th canto this time, and there's some wonderful things coming up. Krishna talks to Uddhava, Krishna leaves. So all of those things we'll be researching very carefully. So stay tuned. Same channel, same station. Haribol. Good evening, everybody.
Prabhu.